Loving kindness is like a special kind of attitude that we can cultivate that eases us towards this contentment. Why can't we relax? Why is it never enough? We have to, on the one hand, start to build up some tolerance or capacity for being with craving, allowing like the impulse to do or to, yeah, restraining ourselves from that action, whether it's a word or a physical action. But on the other hand, we have to chill out, relax. So it's that middle way between the ascetic and the indulgence, right up the middle, where it's just enough. It's just fine how it is. So loving kindness, it's got everything we need. Loving kindness could be your practice solely. You could just do metta practice and it would take you the distance. It becomes the wisdom of selflessness, loving kindness. So loving kindness is that generosity of feeling, like friendliness, goodwill. It's a natural experience in the heart. So you can think of somebody or something like sitting out in nature. You sit in a nice setting, go out in the forest or out by the lake and relax. A feeling of well-being comes. That is a kind of metta, a generosity of heart. It's an opening towards it. In the formal practice of metta, we do phrases. So in the 100 days of care, we're tweaking it a little. What I'm suggesting when you do your mantra is that you put it in the positive present tense. I am enough. I am safe. I am relaxed. Yeah. Whatever the words are that resonate for you, that bring that feeling of goodwill and friendliness, open-heartedness. And I like that because it drops you in. It's that, pretending you're under the tree, pretending you're already peaceful. I am peaceful. I am loving. I am brave. Whatever your words are is fine. The way it's traditionally done is may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. And so the phrases can be recited, either those traditional ones or the mantra that you have for the day. You can recite it, and you want to recite it for yourself with that heartfelt resonance. Let yourself feel loved. Somebody was talking to me about their 100 days and like an overlap with inner child work, if you're familiar with that modality in a therapeutic setting, the idea of reparenting ourselves. So you can do that for yourself. If it works for you, you can think of some sort of higher self that's caring for the little self. Yeah, loving it up. And so we build that capacity to be with the craving, and we start to infuse the heart with this deep acceptance and friendliness and love, nurturing. And that expands. It starts to heal us. Yeah, it starts to allow us to relax our strong grasping. It allows us, I think we talked last week about it being a strong antidote to anger, disappointment, And then, from that basis of filling our heart, we then start to include others. So the nature of love is that it is immeasurable. There's no end to it. There's an endless supply of love. And in fact, the way to get more love is by loving and by giving love away. It increases when it's it's infinitely increasing. And it has the quality, that wisdom quality of like an open sky. The way that the sky never rejects any objects that appear in it. It doesn't reject the storms and it doesn't reject the birds and it doesn't reject the clouds. Loving kindness has this same quality, complete acceptance. All of our ugliness, all of the things we've been rejecting in ourselves, we're going to allow them, and we're going to allow them to loosen and dissolve into the loving energy, into the loving space. Right? Then we include others. So we include somebody. The next category of beings that we include are beings who we don't have any problem with. So we're neither overly attached to them, nor do we dislike them. Somebody that you're naturally affectionate towards. And this can change. I think I mentioned it in the book itself. So sometimes our child is a wonderful object of natural affection, and sometimes we want to strangle them. Yeah, so you have to skillfully knowing what's going to generate love. So how you might start to work with loving kindness with another being is you allow someone to come up. They don't have to be alive. So your grandmother could come to mind, or your great grandmother, someone who was very kind to you. And you're stoking that fire. Yeah, so you think of somebody, you could think of somebody right now that you feel affection for. Probably they were generous with you. Probably they were supportive of you. Probably they were friendly and accepting and showed you loving kindness. So you bring them to mind and then focus on the feeling itself. Yeah. And you send it to them. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And then we let the mind, and it might just naturally do this, we let other beings come to mind. We think of our grandmother, maybe our grandfather comes to mind, or an uncle, or a mentor. Oh, the first person who gave us an opportunity. Teacher. We spend time visualizing that person and wishing for them to be free, wishing for them to feel safe, wishing for them to have everything they need to be happy and content in this moment. And from there, you can include more and more individual beings, or you could include groups of, of people you have affection for, or a more natural affection for. You know, just randomly, the Doctors Without Borders, or some group of people, some group of individuals whose efforts in making others' lives better is inspiring, and you send them loving kindness. And then the next category you would shift to is neutral beings. So beings you have no feeling either way. So somebody who works at the grocery store helps check out your groceries. May they be well. May they be peaceful. May they live with ease. No? All of the people. So you kind of get creative for yourself. What works to move your heart. So all of the doctors and nurses in the hospital nearby, all of the patients there, may they be peaceful. May they be safe. Yeah, so like this, where we start with specific heart opening, where we actually are moved by it. And then you expand that movement of the heart to include more beings. Eventually, we work with beings who cause us trouble. And again, we start with individuals. We start small, start with somebody who irritates you a little bit. Yeah, don't start with the person who made your life a living hell or who abused you. Start with somebody who you can legitimately give a little love to. You know, may they be happy, may they be well. And then we move out to, if you have a long time to sit, you can start there with yourself and with the smaller group of individuals, expanding out and then neutral to strangers and then people you have difficulty with or even groups you have difficulty with. You know, may the people who are organized for the wrong reasons, for hate, for greed, may they be well. We don't have to change, they don't have to change in order to receive our affection. And then it just gets wider and wider, the love spreading out to include all beings, human and animal, past and present. And again, whatever works, beings that fly in the air, beings that live in the water. And if you closed your eyes and we're doing a little meditation there, beautiful. Think we'll shift now to, just want to double check. Yeah, maybe before we shift to our discussion, I'll just mention directly from the book, and these lovely tables which come at the, oop, I don't know, that won't focus, but they come at the top of each section. So days 11 to 20, loving kindness, metta, parami, synonyms, characteristic, functions to, and develops into. And this is something that I borrowed from Sylvia Boorstein, who has a book called Pay Attention for Goodness Sake. And it's the same topic. She covers the 10 perfections. It's very accessible. So if it interests you to follow that up, I recommend it. I did change hers a little bit. Synonyms for loving kindness are goodwill, friendliness, non-hatred, benevolence. So there, I will just mention, and I think I said it last week. I'm talking about love and loving kindness. That's but technically, what Buddha said is it's non-hatred, and it's a bit clarifying to consider that, because what you're looking for is the end of resistance. You're looking for the end of conflict, the end of me versus them, the end of separation. So where there's that separation, the highest wisdom dissolves it all. Loving kindness works to erode it. And so loving kindness is really, in effect, non-hatred. Characteristic of loving kindness is unconditional friendliness. Yeah, so this is, this is beautiful because the practice on the cushion starts to soften us, and then we start to engage in our normal life, and our, the mind changes, our world changes. And the so you know, what excites me or excited me when I was involved with the Tibetan Buddhism, that there's a lot of talk around becoming a bodhisattva or being a bodhisattva. Bodhi means enlightenment, sattva, mind of enlightenment. And so a being that is a bodhisattva is on the path. Their intention is to wake up for the benefit of themselves and all beings. We're gonna wake up to the truth. Yeah. So a bodhisattva doing all these practices, doing loving kindness practice, transforms over time, transforms their world into a heaven realm, into, you know, imagine waking up in the morning and going through your day, and everyone you meet, you love them, you adore them. You know, even the people who are behaving badly, you don't love their behavior, but you love them so much. All you want is for them to be happy, for them to see through their confusion, to be released from their discomfort, you know, from their temporary discomfort. May they be comfortable, but ultimately, may they just see the truth and be completely liberated. So you can inspire yourself with this idea of it's actually possible to move through my day surrounded by friends, because friends come from our idea. Our friendliness is what creates the friend. There's no friend on the other side. There's no friend out there. Yeah. So, you know, like an example in terms of practically is, you know, somebody that you resonate with, easy to get along with. Yeah. Friends. Yeah. Somebody that's trouble. Oh, they're teaching me the limit of my patience. So also friend, right? We can, it's like this kind of reframing practice. So characteristic unconditional friendliness, loving kindness functions to remove resentment. So it's healing when we transform everyone into friend, when we transform the mind to friendliness, no more resentment. All is forgiven. We forgive ourselves and each other moment to moment. You know, it's not a one and done. It's not like we can accomplish it and drop it. This is an ongoing thing. You know, trouble comes up, confusion comes up, maybe a bit of bad behavior on our part or someone else's, and it's forgiven. Loving kindness develops into kindness. So classically listed as the 9th of the 10 parami. The direct cause of loving kindness is recognizing the natural goodness in ourselves and others. So we touched on this last week, and that is the worldview in this context is not hinging on original sin of some sort. The worldview is we are all naturally capable of attaining this liberation. We're all naturally innocent. We're all naturally loving and lovable. Yeah. So we start from that premise. Like the sun clouded over by clouds, the nature of our heart is like the sun, and our karmic formations are like the clouds. And when we're asleep and reactive and just, you know, going confused and attached and averse, it's like the clouds covering. But our natural state is perfectly whole, yeah, and good. So with that, I will stop talking and we'll invite some discussion.